When I have a friend or business associate or family member or whatever try something and fail, I don't ridicule. Or even if I see it online, whatever, don't ridicule. And what do? I don't celebrate it either. Hey man, you failed. Great, good for you. No, I don't celebrate it. What do? I support it. I support their failure and their effort. And number two, I help them try to learn from it. So get out of the ridicule of failure and get into the support and encouragement of failure. Support people when they fail because they're feeling miserable, and then encourage them to learn and bounce back as soon as they can. And when you do that, you're gonna push out that energy, that positive vibes that you're gonna get back. So subconsciously, you're rewiring yourself to understand, hey, if I fail, people are gonna come support me, people are gonna encourage me, people are gonna help me bounce back. It requires failure to succeed. So you have to get over the fear of failure in order to succeed. It is an absolute requirement. I've failed so many times I can't even catalog it. But then it's because of those failures I find myself where I am today. And I know for a fact it's going to be because of future failures I'm going to find myself leveling up again in the next decade. Okay? Because I'm confident in my failure and I have no fear of embarrassment. Yo, what is up, everybody? This is the End-to-End Podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Yun Win, affectionately called the Ninja, or Prolific Ninja for my family and friends. And because my fans are my friends, you can call me Ninja too. This is the End-to-End Podcast, the Alpha to the Omega, the beginning to the end, talking about life, motivation, drive, success, self-improvement, and offering you morsels in this all-you-can-eat buffet called life. Back in the studio, man, feeling fantastic. This is day 3 of a 3-day fast for me ever since I saw Dana White post his thing about the 72, 86-hour fast. I've been doing it once a month since last fall at the end of my last 75 hard. But man, every time I do it, it's like I come in with trepidation. It's like, damn, because I love food and love drinks and whatever. But by day 2, day 3, I'm feeling fantastic. And if you haven't done it yet, I do it at the last Sunday through Wednesday of every month. So if you want to do it with me or need that encouragement or accountability, message me, DM me on all socials at End-to-End Podcast, and I'll put you in the accountability group and let's get it on. It just feels fantastic. Like the first day or two, it's a little bit rough only because you're habitualized to have these meals or eat or whatever at certain times throughout the day. But if you can get over that mental hurdle, your physical body actually doesn't require you to eat. I don't get the stomach pains, hunger pains, or anything like that. It's just the mental, habitual thing of getting past these 72 hours. So in the third day, and by day 3, it's crazy because at least for me physiologically, my body speeds up because your body's trying to find carbohydrates, calories, so it starts burning its own fat, the brown fat, brown tissue. And so your body temperature, metabolism actually goes up. And so you have a heightened level of awareness mentally. So you might feel physically fatigued, but once you get over that mentally, you're absolutely clear. So I highly encourage at least once in a while to try the 72-hour fast. Cellularly, microcellularly, at the genetic level, it's phenomenal. If you do your research, you'll understand why 72-hour fast is fantastic. So this is day 3. But before I get into the actual topic of the episode, I want to start this episode as I start my day. If you're new to the show, I want to let you know that I start my day as soon as I wake up, thanking the universe, thanking God for another opportunity to be alive, to make an impact, to inspire other people. It's just a gift to wake up every morning. And so when you start your day with gratitude, it just filters all throughout the rest of the day in that positive attitude, because you cannot be grateful and have a negative vibe at the same time. It's impossible. So when you start the day with gratitude, it's the most efficient hack for your day ever. So I start my day thanking God, the universe, for another day. And in that regard, I want to thank you for joining this journey with me and growing the show. The numbers keep going up, which I'm ecstatic. More than 2 years now, a little over 2 years doing this podcast consistently. Consistency is key in 2023. Remember that? Consistently for over 2 years straight on a weekly basis. Haven't missed one yet. So I want to thank you, because this show wouldn't grow without you. And so the way this works, if you're new to the show, is that if you learn something out of this episode or any of my past episodes, or you found something interesting just by 0.0001% better, or you found something that your friend or family or coworker or whatever might find interesting, please do share the show. Our slogan here is, if your knowledge swole, share the show. That's how we grow. I do this on my own dime, on my own time, spend my own money, have a whole crew here behind the cameras and everything, editing and so forth to get you this content. So with that regard, please share the show. That is how we grow. So I want to get to the topic. I've been watching the NBA playoffs a lot, and a lot of teams get knocked out and so on, which in many regards is a sense of failure when you get knocked out. So this episode reminded me, watching, the Lakers get knocked out by the Nuggets, if you're a basketball fan, about failure, right? And if you've been listening to this show for a while, you understand that I embrace failure as a necessary step to success, because it's in the failure that you learn. You learn to get better. You learn to improve. You learn to level up, right? There's that famous quote, paraphrasing it, from Michael Jordan. He's like, I've missed whatever, 8,000, 80,000, whatever the number was, shots in my life. I've taken the last second shot hundreds of times and missed and lost the game, but it's because I'm willing to fail is why I succeed, right? And so the reason I bring up failure is that a lot of people get stuck on their success journey because they are afraid to fail. They are afraid to fail. You might be afraid to fail, and that's why you've not taken the leap on that next step, or you haven't made up your mind to do certain things that you need to do to succeed, but yet you don't do it. And a lot of times it's because of that fear of failure that people just stop in their tracks. You know what you want to do, but you don't do it because you're afraid to fail, right? But you have to fundamentally ask yourself, why is it that you are afraid to fail? Why is it that you are afraid to fail? Is it because you lack the confidence to recover from failure? Or more likely, because I know you know yourself enough to know you have the confidence to come back. Or more likely is that you're afraid of the embarrassment of the failure, right? Or a combination of both, right? And I'll get into that. But the embarrassment of failure is, I think, because it's twofold. We live in a victim culture at the moment. I sense it's changing, but it's been that way for the longest time because of social media, because of whatever reason. Victim culture has taken over, pop culture. Oh, look how trashy, look how I failed. Look how I trashed. Celebrate me because I can't make it. Oh, woe is me. Everybody wants to get the likes and clicks and feedback, the attention for being a victim. Okay? But that's the wrong kind of attention, right? And so, because people embrace that victimhood, right, then maybe you don't want to join that culture. And so maybe you don't want to fail and publicize that failure so that people can celebrate you, right? And so people are afraid to get out there like that. Because to our core, celebrating victimhood culture does not advance your success path. So if you want to succeed, why do you get into that culture? Well, people are afraid to get into that culture, right? And then the second reason why a lot of people are afraid to succeed is because, on the flip side, people ridicule failure very, very easily. People are so readily to ridicule failure. Maybe you do that. It's more likely than not that you do. Oh, I knew you weren't going to make it. Oh, man, why did you even try? Look at him. He tried and he failed. right? If that's you, you got to get out of that. You got to get out of that, right? So here, today's episode is about how to get over the subconscious fear of failure. Because again, I know many of you know what you need to do to take that next step, to get that momentum, to get to that next level, but yet you don't do it. And because I think it's subconsciously, you have a massive fear of failure, right? So how do you get over that? Well, number one is to get out of that victimhood culture mentality. Just don't even get close to it. Like when I'm, doing research or scrolling on social and I see people, just celebrating victimhood, I immediately either delete, I click on suggest less, I do whatever it is to get out of that, to not even get close to those vibrations. Because there's nothing celebratory about being a victim. There's nothing positive or to be gained about being a victim. And I'm not talking about like real victim, like if you got, a victim of crime or abuse or something like that. That's real. That's real. But I'm just talking about this whole superficial layer of victimhood. There's no reason to get even close to that. So if you want to get over the feel of failure, stay away from that entirely. Just stay away. But more importantly, if you have the urge to ridicule failure, you have to get out of the mentality. Now, why is that? Because if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, I truly believe that energy and vibration is the current of the universe. And with that, there becomes a law of attraction. And so when you're always ridiculing failure, then what are you attracting? More ridicule of failure, or even that, more failure. You're pulling that to you, right? You're pulling that to you. And so when that happens, then in your mind, subconsciously, you're thinking, well, what if I fail? Will people ridicule me? Of course they will, because that's the energy you bring. Or alternatively, because you ridicule failure, what does the universe give you actually? More failure. Right? So you have to get out of that ridicule failure mentality. Now, what do you replace it with? Okay? When I have a friend or business associate or family member or whatever try something and fail, I don't ridicule. Or even if I see it online, whatever, don't ridicule. And what do? I don't celebrate it either. Hey, man, you failed. Great. Good for you. No, I don't celebrate it. What do? I support it. I support their failure and their effort. And number two, I help them try to learn from it. Okay? So why do I support it? Because when somebody fails, they feel pretty down on themselves, right? That's clear. It's human nature. So why not come in and try to lift them up? Hey, man, good for you for trying. You didn't do it this time. Let's learn from it and make it happen next time. Right? Failure is a tough thing. I've talked about recent failures that I've had in the last trial. Right? But I guarantee you, I'm thankful for those that came around and say, hey, man, you did a good job, just didn't go your way. Yeah, I appreciate that. Now, what can we learn from it? Okay. So you support it. Don't celebrate it. You support it. Right? And then you encourage the next attempt. Support it and encourage the next attempt, because you have to help them bounce back, get back the momentum from the failure. Right? And so why do that? Because that's the energy I want to attract, because I already know failure is required to succeed. So I know I'm going to fail in the future. I know it's going to happen. Inevitably. It happens to everybody in massive, massive ways. So I want to attract that same energy where when I fail, it's not if, when people come to me to support me and encourage me to make the next attempt. So when I understand that, then I get over what? My fear of failure. There is anxiety over failure. When you're making big moves that have big consequence, either a lot of money or affecting a lot of lives, there's anxiety. 100%. Right? And so do I want to go into the decision or the action knowing that if I fail, people are going to ridicule me? Or do I have more confidence to make that decision or make that massive leap, knowing that if I fail, people are going to come around and say, "Hey, man, you did well, you tried your best, didn't go your way. Let's rebound and take the next step." The universe gives you what you put out. The vibration you put out is what you get back. And so when you encourage people through their failure, what's going to happen when you fail inevitably? You're going to get encouragement through that failure. Okay, so you have to get out of the ridicule mindset. Get into the support and encouragement mindset. You're only bringing positive vibes. And then positive vibes come find you. That's the way it works. Ask anybody with massive success. That is the way it works. Not that I've had massive success, but I've had some. I've had some wins. And trust me, that is how it works. And my losses, when I think about it, that's how it works. Okay? Law of attraction. And now the second thing, help the person learn through the process. Learn the lessons, right, of their attempt of success. And why is that important? Remember, a couple episodes ago, I shared an expression: a smart man learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. So when you help somebody through the learning process of their failure, what happens for you? You're learning too. Hey, man, what do you think you could have done differently in your approach or in your plan or your execution? Who do you think you could have called for help? Maybe I know somebody you could have called. There's a lot of ways to learn through failure. And when you're learning and encouraging somebody else through the process at the right time, failure, people want to just kind of set back a little bit and reset before they want to talk about it. But at any right time, you encourage the learning through the failure. And that helps you and it helps them. Again, bringing positive vibes, positive energy. Because you never know when you're going to make that failure, but you are going to know that you can learn from it. And when you get into that learning mentality through failure, guess what? You have the confidence to fail. Subconsciously and consciously in your mind. Hey, I'm going to take this move, I'm going to make this move, and if it ends up not how I expected, I'm going to learn from it. So let's just go do it anyways. People ask me all the time, man, how do you walk around so confident? Because I failed a lot of times to be confident enough to know how to succeed. But at the same time, I know the outcome is still positive when I look to learn from my failure. Which goes back to the very beginning, the first point, which is once you build the confidence in failure, you can tackle the world. Because really, you don't really give an F. You don't give a fuck what happens. You don't give a shit. And that is what it's like a Superman vest. Because once you're able to not care about failure, then you're willing to do whatever it takes to succeed, regardless. Right? So you have to have the two components, the confidence in failure and the don't give a fuck, I don't care about the embarrassment of failure. Right? And they're both intertwined because the more you go through the action and execution and fail, the more confidence you get. But in order to go into that action and execution to fail, you have to get over that subconscious embarrassment of failure that is preventing you and creating that fear of failure. Okay? So it's all intertwined. It's all intertwined. Yet people don't understand how to get over their failure, their fear of failure. So to review, you got to be confident in failure and get over the embarrassment of failure. And they're intertwined. To get over the embarrassment of failure, one, get rid of the victimhood culture. Get out of that. We're not celebrating failure, okay? But more importantly, number two, do not ridicule failure. Oh man, that guy, I can't believe he tried to do that. Get rid of that mentality, because subconsciously that's wiring you to think that's what people are going to say about you when you fail. And that's the energy you're attracting. So get out of the ridicule of failure and get into the support and encouragement of failure. Support people when they fail because they're feeling miserable, and then encourage them to learn and bounce back as soon as they can. And when you do that, you're going to push out that energy, that positive vibes that you're going to get back. So subconsciously, you're rewiring yourself to understand, hey, if I fail, people are going to come support me. People are going to encourage me. People are going to help me bounce back. And that is the mentality you go into to build confidence in failure. Because why? You're going to be willing to fail more, which then builds the resiliency to have the confidence to succeed. It requires failure to succeed. So you have to get over the fear of failure in order to succeed. It is an absolute requirement. I've failed so many times I can't even catalog it. Okay? But then it's because of those failures I find myself where I am today. And I know for a fact it's going to be because of future failures I'm going to find myself leveling up again in the next decade. Okay? Because I'm confident in my failure and I have no fear of embarrassment. Absolutely none. I just don't give a fuck, honestly. And I just go do it. I just go do it because I know if I do fail, I have a methodology to bounce back, which is a few episodes ago, but I also know I'm going to get supported and encouraged through it from my group. And I'm telling you now, if your group is not supporting you and encouraging you through your failure, you're just in the wrong group. You're just in the wrong group. Because it takes somebody who has succeeded or somebody willing to succeed to encourage you and support you through your failure. Because they know what it takes. Okay? So please get over this fear of failure. Get into it. The summer's about to start. No better time. No better time. Take that energy of the summer. Take, the longer days. Use that. Apply yourself. Go to that next step that I know you know how to take, that you have to take, and get rid of that fear of failure. So glad to bring you another episode of the End-to-End Podcast. Special month. Turning the big 5-0 later this month. So, they say Asian don't raisin. People say I look 30, which is fantastic, but I really think it's because the energy vibe that I give off, that youthful energy, that positive energy, it's very hard to find in older people. So big month, big time. Very, very excited. More excited to take a bite of food later today, but glad to bring another episode. Again, if you found value in this episode or any other episodes past this present one, please do share the show. If you're knowledgeable, share the show. That is how we grow. I'm going to wrap this episode as I wrap every episode, as I wrap every day. When my head hits the pillow, my eyes going to close, I always am grateful. I give thanks to the universe and God for another day, another opportunity to have been inspirational, to bring positivity to this world, to support other people. Because when I go to bed, again, you cannot be grateful and have negative vibes. So what better way to go to sleep than being grateful and having those positive vibes? So with that, I want to thank you. Thank you for listening, following, sharing, subscribing, supporting. Lots of love in our mission, which is to inspire billions of lives across this planet to live to the fullest controllable potential. So with that, I want you to be great today, but be even more grateful. Looking forward to bringing you another episode very, very soon.